documents from all over the world tell of advanced beings who either came to Earth or were already living on the Earth. This is from a good book called Past Shock by Jack Barringer. Now, the word Nephilim that's used in the Bible to describe these beings really means those who were cast down, not those who came down, okay? Sometimes they mistranslate that. It's those who were cast down. The difference of influence. In a book called the Srimad Bhagavatam of India, there's a quote that says, "It tells of a demon race which invaded the 3 planetary systems. Opposing the demons was the Hindu god Shiva, who possessed a powerful weapon that he fired at the enemy airships from his own." Now, it's interesting that the Mahabharata, the Veda, and the Bible, many of the references that, of course, spoke about this were just taken out. The Mahabharata, when Western scholars, even recently, like the 19th century, when they had to go through that book, or the Bhagavad Gita, and translate it into English, do you know that any time they came across a passage like this, they just left it out? They didn't even bother translating it because, of course, they knew what it would mean, it would represent. Then we turn to the Bible again. We have a statement that says, "They come from the far country, from the end of heaven, to destroy the whole land. Who are these that fly in a cloud as the doves to their windows?" Now, that's right. Who are these personages? Go into that right now with you and explain something of the background of our history that has been kept from us. It turns out that about 50,000 years ago, the Sumerian records always talk about 400,000 years ago. If you listen to Zechariah Sitchin when he's talking about the Anunnaki, and he's translated the ancient monuments there and the scripts and the cylinder seals, he tends to put the emphasis on 400,000 years ago. And I tend to have some problems with that, because it's not really corroborated by many of the other peoples and tribes and their writings. The Celtic peoples, the tendency is to believe it's about 50,000 years ago that our planet was actually visited by aliens. And the stories of the legends, when you research them enough and find out what was going on, you actually discover that a race of beings who had been expurged from their own planetary system somewhere else. Some people say Sirius, Others are talking about the Pleiades. There's different philosophies. They had been expunged from their own system in an Armageddon that they had been having on their planet. And they left, and they were being pursued. And they were extremely advanced people. They're where our technology is, maybe even 1,000 years and more in advance. And these beings had space travel, and the stories talk about how they left their own planetary system and they were being pursued, this adversarial power, you see. And it somehow says that they strayed into our solar system while they were being pursued, and they were ahead of their pursuers. And what they did was that they landed, or at least pretended to land, on another planet that used to be in our solar system. And we'll come to that. Now, we have information. Yeah. All down through society, as many other scholars and websites have gone into. Excuse me. About the strange vehicles and visitations. Like in the book of Ezekiel, there's that famous quote that you've heard a lot. "Now, as I looked upon the living creatures, I saw 4 wings upon the ground, one by each of them, of the living creatures, with their 4 faces. The appearance of wheels, and their composition was like the color of shiny amber. And all 4 wings had but one likeness, and their composition was like a wheel in the middle of a wheel." This is in the Bible, in the book of Ezekiel, about a vision that this prophet is meant to have had. And we have artifacts from all over the world that bear incredible resemblance to modern-day spaceships. I'm showing you this for a reason, because some of you have seen this stuff before on other websites, but I've got a particular interest to explain why there is the similarity. And spacemen and astronauts. Because on a lot of the programs that deal with this, they do tell you they show you these things, but they never go into why. Have you ever noticed that after an hour-long, multi-million-dollar program, they still leave you with more questions? So we've got to realize that just displaying the facts and looking at the anomalies is one half of it, but then we need somebody to come along and give the answers, and that they will not do right now on mainstream media. Here we have again some sort of celestial scene with some what looks like crafts flying, you see. And then, of course, the temple at Abydos in Egypt. You have carvings on the walls that look like submarines